and IR Gurus, and anybody else with vowels in their titles, are hosting a drinks function with free beer and music by Chris McCormick. So who could refuse? So stick around for that. There'll be a kind of raffle ticket system for getting your beers. So keep the eye out for the lady with the raffle tickets. And then if you want to party the night away with your new and old free play buddies, head on down to Horse Bazaar after that. The details are in the program. They're a great Melbourne bar and a great supporter of new media and games type stuff, so worth checking out. I'd like to extend thanks to our speakers today, who've done an absolutely fantastic job for giving up their time and sharing their love and passion for games with everybody. I'd like to thank the committee who found our speakers, cooked up the sessions and ate an awful lot of bad pizza in our office in the planning. I'd like to especially thank the Next Wave team, Yolanda Blair, Paul Davis, Mel Upton, Jeff Kahn, for doing an absolutely fantastic job and chasing every single detail of every single little thing. Free Play supporters, Arts Victoria for allowing Next Wave to be, Film Victoria for bringing speakers from all over the country and bringing you the program, ACME for their comfy seats, and a special thank you to Helen Stuckey and to Natalie Grigg for helping us put everything on today. And a big thank you to Crumpler for our super prize that we've got here. So on that note, I was wondering, Robert, whether I could ask you to be our barrel girl. As it's starting.
One more entry here.
One more entry.
Yeah, I watched it.
You got your entry quick.
It's just giving it up. Go on, put it in.
Keep folding up.
Oh, good. We got it after that.
Any more entries, quick. Ready? Brilliant. All right. This is a very authentic competition. All right, you'll have to sort of shake them all around and rustle about. All right. And the winner is James Lorenzi. Yay! Yay! Thank you. If James isn't here, James, he's downstairs. All right, we'll track him down later on.
I'll pick another one, the one that actually comes to see me.
Ah. So James has won this really super duper Crumpler laptop bag. So that's fantastic. So without further ado, I would like to introduce our final speaker. Robert J. Spencer is COO of Interzone Entertainment, a global game publisher with their main development studios in Perth. Before co-founding Interzone, RJ, Robert, was a strategic business manager of Big World, where he worked with numerous developers on a range of massively multiplayer online games. Robert has also launched and published Australian PC Gamer, G+, and PC Games Plus, which is simultaneously published in the US, UK, Australia and Canada. He's also into silly maths questions on his website, has just come back from China Joy in China, and if you live in Perth, Interzone are currently hiring, so listen hard. Well known for as a strong advocate of grassroots game development, RJ believes that the independent game development community is not only essential for the ongoing success of the more commercial game developers, but also an ideal path for exploration of interactive entertainment as art. So with that to set the scene, I introduce you to Robert J. Spencer.
Thanks. So the description of my talk is the paramount importance of independent games and how they are crucial to games development as an art form. If you're here, then you probably have some idea about why that is, and you've played around with developing your own games, and you understand the joy of having someone play a game that you've created, or if you haven't, then someone sitting relatively close to you will have. So, you know the hook of indie games. What I'm going to talk about is their importance from an industry point of view, and not just from an artistic side, but a dollars and cents side as well. So I've got two laptops here, which is going to start getting confusing for me at least. And I do work for Interzone, and yes, we are hiring, but that's not what I'm here for at the moment. I'll talk about that later. Interzone is a fairly large company. We've got about 40 people in Perth working on AAA MMO at the moment. We'll work out if InDesign's an independent game developer in a little bit. If you looked at my resume or listened to any of that, you've see that I've done a few things over the years. I've run an independent games chain, and I've published magazines, and I've worked at a range of game companies, and everyone's we're hiring t-shirts as well. So I get that plug in there again. And I've got a different perspective on the games industry than a lot of people, so I wanted to share that. And recently we've started seeing the commercialization of indie developers like it hasn't really happened before, with the growth of distribution services like Manifesto Games, Steam, GameTap, Xbox Live, and then contrasting that, AAA games are costing $60–70 million US, and requiring larger teams and longer timetables, and the gap appears to be getting bigger and bigger. But it's almost a no-brainer that the indie scene is becoming more and more vital to the industry because of this disparity. Not only does it fill a gap in the type of games it can make, but it also fills a gap in the market. I'm going to outline some of the reasons why independent developers are vital to the industry in a lot of ways. But I want to also get people excited about taking game creation into their own hands. Now's the time. You have the chance to not only push notions of games as art and challenge what they are and what they can do, but you can also challenge how games are made, the way they get funded, and how people enjoy them. That's why I set up InDesign as an independent developer. A few years ago I was talking to Richard Garriott, and he envisaged a time when the game scene would echo the movie business. He'd just sold Origin to Electronic Arts, and part of his thinking was justification for that, but he also thought that big-name studios would start to throw money at the independent scene. It would only pick projects that they thought would make money, but they wouldn't necessarily be typical projects. If they lost some money on some of these small-budget projects, then that'd be life. But on the other hand, if they found something that really worked, they'd throw the distribution behind it, take the idea, remake it, or just push it on. And you can see this really happening in the movie industry quite often, with titles like Once Upon a Time in Mexico being a direct descendant of an indie movie that cost $6,000 to make. We're starting to see a lot of parallels now between the independent scene and the indie movie scene. And it comes at either end of the scale. It's not just the super low budget games or the super low budget movies that are independent. In the movie industry, if you have enough money and power, you can tackle just what you want to. Fantasia, Star Wars prequels, anything by Stanley, Let's Make Tom Cruise Do 93 Takes, Kubrick. Once you become an auteur, you can generally start exploring new territory without too much interference. And this sort of power has given us a meeting between mainstream and art with all sorts of movies and TV shows. American Beauty, Pan's Labyrinth, Amelie, 6 Feet Under. On the movie side, it goes on and on. In games, we've got a few auteur studios. We've got the likes of id and Valve, and it's hard to believe that anyone other than Will Wright can convince people to sink millions of dollars into a game that lets you start as an amoeba and then gradually turn the game into Star Trek, all while pioneering new forms of animation and textures generated on the fly. It's companies like this that are also independent, or especially Valve and id, not so much Will. But you can also achieve independence on the other side of the scale when you have no money and a whole different type of power. These are the indie games that we're most familiar with, but we shouldn't forget the other ones either. Now, we've also seen independent games being picked up by the mainstream. Every Extend that was remade commercially, Team Fortress 2 might someday make it out. And recently a school project from the Netherlands called The Blob has been picked up and expanded for the Wii and DS by Blue Tongue here